Thank you. We were drawing on a different European project, the Central 5, and those 5 domains or competencies we looked at in different groups as a kind of cross-fertilization process. And I distilled out of the reports of the individual 5 groups one central theme, because Philip asked me about one central theme, which is looking at the toolkit. We found out that people who use it or want to use it, people from the policy, from the practice, or from the research side, they would like to see models of good practice, because this would be important for 3 reasons. First, for inspirational purposes. Secondly, for justification, that if they do that, they would gain trust in doing it and not just experimenting with something. And also as a warning that if you don't think of the direction this takes you, you might end up at the wrong end. Final word, we were struggling with the topic of equity, because they were all part of the discussion but not so explicit. And in the final round, we dealt with the concept of time in an overall view, so we have to redefine time for certain goals to be achieved. And this will be a challenge to lead on in any kind of school leader training. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. That was very concise, very clear. Just what we want at this stage in the afternoon. I'm going to go on to workshop 4, promoting stakeholder collaboration. I have one sentence in front of me, which I'm going to convey that Anna Paula and the coordinators have prepared. For fostering successful stakeholders collaboration, we must start with seeing their aspirations with their own potentials and responsibilities, that is, social capital, that need empowerment or development, for which we have to improve communication, be aware of power relationships, and prioritize values to pursue social justice. So very concise, very clear. Did I read it all right? And, yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. That's workshop 3. We'll now go to workshop. Sorry, that was workshop 4. We go to workshop 3, school accountability, Jonas.
Thank you. We were 11 individuals in the room. We had some problems coming along because of technical problems, but it started out and I presented what's in all the material, the different accountability issues we talked about. Social and civic objectives, marks and paths, the relation between those, and the social background, the importance of that for accountability, to take that into account, and test and marks, the relation between those, if they are on the same level or if tests are lower than marks, that I call mark inflation. We were 11 participants, as I said, from Sweden, Lithuania, Malta, Germany, England, Finland, and from all the countries, because our EU participant has the kindness to visit us all the time. I think we quite agreed on that these are important accountability issues. All schools should know something about these topics and try to assess them. When we compared countries, there's no big likeness between the countries. No nation has a comprehensive system for giving schools the possibility to see this. They have to do the work often by themselves. In Germany, some states have it, quite proficient systems. Other states we don't know about. So it's sort of a land that you have to discover when it comes to accountability systems. The topic we stayed and discussed most at the end of the session was about the relation between marks the teachers give the students and the test scores given by someone else from another part of the school system. And this could be a problem concerning the quality of assessment. How do we assess the learning in schools? Why are there different assessments when you have marks from the school side or tests from the agency side? So the discussion tend to be a bit hot between Finland and was it Germany perhaps? So I wanted to continue, but they say, oh no, we want a coffee. And you know, Mika and coffee is not able to put aside. So we went to coffee, but I had a feeling that this thing about marks and test scores is a bit about coming test avoidance. Let's stick with the marks the schools give and skip the tests. Or, I don't know, but that was in the air. But everyone enjoyed the session, and I think it's going to make the group talk a lot more about this tonight or tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonas. And each of the coordinators are going to send me some written feedback, giving a few more points and adding to what they've just fed back. And indeed, the workshop coordinators tomorrow will also be doing the same. So if you're a workshop coordinator tomorrow, you'll have a similar role, giving concise feedback to the conference, and then some more in an email to me, so that I've got a sense of what's come back from all of the workshops. I will now just give a little bit of feedback about workshop that Amanda and I coordinated on distributed leadership. We had quite a wide variety of people from different countries, from ministries, from universities, teachers, and so it was a very good dynamic, I think, in the group. We got quite a bit of feedback and discussion about the distributed leadership for equity and learning tool set, and we've made a note of those. So I'm just going to give to highlight one or two of what of the points that came back and that were discussed. One point that was made was that in applying distributed leadership for equity and learning, or DLE for short, well, it depends on context. You have to be alive and careful and sensitive to context, which is clearly the case. And the tool set, and none of the tool sets, is set up as a plan that you just follow in detail, regardless of the local situation. The point was made, or it was suggested, that the tool set doesn't talk about power and power relationships, although it's implicit there. It's part of the idea of inclusion and equity. And so that's something to think about and take away, that perhaps being more explicit about that would be helpful, and helpful to people who use the tool set. The point was also made about, in a lot of distributed leadership literature, the head teacher or the principal, the senior leader, is often invisible, but that's not right to make them invisible. And that's a good point that was made, and we discussed that. It also links with the work that Amanda and I are doing already in thinking about how we present the tool set, to share and make explicit the importance of reflecting on the role of the head teacher and principal in relation to distributed leadership for equity and learning. The point was also made that it's quite easy to stick with conventional hierarchical leadership, that's the norm, and you can work within that fairly comfortably. If you're going to do something which is markedly different, then you need passion, or you need inspiration, as one of the participants put it. You need that to carry you forward and to engage yourself in it, and to inspire other people to develop and change. Two more points. One is that the tool set in many ways is looking within the school, what happens within the school. But it's not just an inward-looking idea of leadership. It has to be outward-looking as well. It has to relate to communities and parents and so on. Again, another good point, well made, to bear in mind. And then the final point just to highlight is that the value that people using the toolset would place on concrete examples, that, how this would help, for example, policymakers who are encouraging DLE. It would help them if they were able to share and show concrete examples or case studies. And this is a point that's come up in other presentations that Amanda and I have done as well.